Hi, welcome to Bass Lab, New Mexico. Today I'm chilling with the one and only Artha Meadors.
Hey.
We're hanging here at the New Mexico Jazz Workshop. It's a Monday, it's Labor Day today. And you having a good day?
Yeah, chilling so far.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You said you were working on some homework today.
Yeah, a lot of homework.
Yeah.
Really, so
Yeah, you're blazing it up.
there's a lot of things all at once.
A lot of things all at once. Yeah, being dads,
Yep.
being family men and having gigs and all of it.
Yeah. Job, gigs, school, family, miscellaneous, all the things.
All the things. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Tell us about what's a day in the life of Artha Meadors in your routine. You know, I know every day is a little different, but do you start the day the same every day? Do you have a routine?
Yeah, it's kind of routine oriented because there's so much stuff that I have to fit in. So right now, these days, it's like I have my son who's just over a year. I have him, so handling wherever he needs to be, and then come to work here at the New Mexico Jazz Workshop. I'm a outreach coordinator, so we do a lot of programs with the youth, and so definitely working with that and trying to organize that, put that together for the school year. Then after that, it's either I have class, also a full-time student, or I have to start shedding for a gig or have to go to a rehearsal or a gig. And then every day repeats, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's busy.
yeah, homework, shedding, or gig.
Yeah.
Or school. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find yourself, when you have a little time to practice and sit down with your bass, do you find yourself just getting the next music for the next gig, or do you have a lot of do you give yourself creative time to write and stuff like that?
Man, it's kind of a little bit different these days. I haven't had a lot of creative time to write and probably since my son was born.
Sure.
But you have to find like the little nuggets of where you can create. So I was kind of known for like writing several ideas in a day. Like I would write just whatever, guitar, bass, piano. I would just write a lot. And it's kind of gotten out of that where I don't have the time for that or the kind of the mental bandwidth to like just sit there and focus because toddler, homework.
Yeah.
But I give myself like small things to do. Like if I'm practicing for a gig, I try to figure out as many melodies in the music or somebody else's part, or kind of get in depth in the shedding of the music for the gig. Or I do small things like I mess with my sampler, I arrange my pedals in a certain way, and just the creative thing to do those micro creative things kind of feeds that. It satiates it where I'm like, cool, I didn't write a song. I don't have this big block of this idea, but I did something and I feel good about it and it's cool. And it's kind of ephemeral, so it's gone. It's like, cool, I have all these really cool ideas and samples on here. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do.
Working on your sound.
Yeah. Working on sound development, working on getting the idea out. And, working with the mechanics of either my pedals, my bass, chordal, or sound design and manipulation.
Yeah.
The same idea.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the music director for Robert Mirabal and Rare Tribal Mob.
Yeah.
And that sounds like an exciting gig.
It is.
And so you're the bass player and you're also the MD for the band.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Is that you guys have to rehearse a lot when you go on the road and put sounds together and stuff like that?
It's kind of always in development. Like the way that the position came about was somebody was exiting and they were like, okay, well, we need somebody to keep it together. And generally when I come into a gig that I kind of know what's going on, I do all my research, I do reconnaissance, I like deep dive into the band. And so by the time I got on stage with Robert and with all the people, I kind of had an idea of how the music went. So when the MD of the time showed me what was going on, I'm like, okay, got it. So when he's like, I'm done, I'm going to back out for a second. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, I can do it. we were auditioning at the same time as I walked in. We were auditioning guitar players, and we auditioned one person, and they didn't know the exact riff to this one song. And I'm like, I know it. This is how you play it. And I played the riff for him. And then the next song came up, I played that riff for him. So everybody was like, how about you just musically direct? Because you know his part, you know everybody else's part. I'm like, yeah. And so as it's developed, it's kind of developed like that, where I'm listening for where Robert wants to go and cross-referencing what he's done from the things I know. I have the cross-reference of what the MD did. I have the cross-reference of like the past things. And then we go, okay, cool. What does he sound like now? What does he want to do now? And the main goal as a MD is always like support the artist in the energy level that he wants to get at. So the bass parts aren't too crazy in the song. They have some really cool bass parts, but the bass parts aren't too crazy, but it allows me to kind of pay attention to everybody else and guide everybody else. And it's been fun, and it's a really cool crew of people. Like everybody, more than everybody is a great musician. Everybody gets along.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I know about what you're saying about supporting the artist. You know, you want the music. It's like when you're on stage, you really want to tune in to where the artist is going. And if that means making a change, like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, because, you know, some of the real artists out there, they don't want a band that's just static playing the same thing every night. There's an element of improvisation and building with the energy, and those are definitely calls to make on stage. And so as a music director, you get to really make sure that happens.
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes both ways. Being the musical director for different artists, it's always you take it as who the person is and what they want to do. I know artists who they will mess up their whole song every time they play it, but they want you to stick to the arrangement that's on the album. And they need everything on the album. Even if they miss it, they want you there. And then there's other artists who are like, oh, if you play everything perfect every time, then they get mad. and Robert doesn't get mad about it, but Robert definitely goes, I'm going to go left. And you go, okay, cool. You don't try to change him. You don't try to temper anything. You go, no, he went left. We go left with him. And that's kind of the fun part of the gig. And he definitely gives a lot of gratitude and is very gracious with like his praise to his band and everybody like that. But man's a wild card and it's fun. So as a musician, you're never going to you can never be on autopilot, which is, I think, what musicians want. We either want it to be a huge production and everything be on the nose and have all the sounds and everything be perfect, or we want something that's going to be like a little bit different every night, like a little bit a jazz, very improv of like, oh, this could go left. What do we do if it goes left? Everybody kind of starts smiling when it's unexpected territory. And it's my role as an MD in those regards of when he goes that way is very much like just being like, okay, cool, watch him. All right, this is how we're going to get to shore. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like you literally hear me on stage, like hooping and hollering and making changes and moving my hand and making grand gestures so everybody gets it. But it's just following him where he goes and try to get back to land. And that's fun. So
that's part of the adventure.
Oh yeah. So it's been a real treat. And Robert is a very, very sweet human being. Very, very cool, sweet human being.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And those are the people that we tend to end up playing with, you know. And as musicians, we want to be around our friends.
Yeah.
You want to be around your homies when you play. I mean, if possible, you know.
No, there's a good story real quick. Me, Claudio, one of my best friends, Claudio Toulouse.
Shout out to Claudio.
Steve Figueroa.
Shout out to Steve.
Steve Figueroa. And David Flores. Also
shout out to Dave.
David Flores. We ended up doing a trip down to Las Cruces, 3 hours away. we drove all the way down there and we just talked the whole time and hung out, and everybody's a great musician and that, but everybody was a great hang. We get down to the gig, it gets rained out, thunderstorms, gig gets canceled. We never even get on stage. We go, okay, we go have dinner, then we drive back home. And then we all start texting each other and going, man, it was good to hang with you. You know what would have made that hang better? If we actually got to play. But none of us were disappointed. It was good musicians who know the music and then are good hangs and are fun to hang out with.
Absolutely.
And that makes the gig. That make you wouldn't get in the front door if you didn't know how to play.
True.
You wouldn't get in the front door if you didn't know how to play. So you're in the front door now. Now it's just be cool.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't get in the front door unless you're cool. I mean, that's kind of part of our job as musicians. I mean, what other job is there where being cool or having a vibe is an asset to you, you know?
It's more of an asset than having a PhD. You could have a piece of paper that says you have a PhD in music. If you're not cool to hang with or you don't got the music down, you're not going to work.
Yeah.
You're not going to work playing.
Yeah. What do they say? There's like, musicians say, like, there's the hang, there's the money, and there's the music.
The trifecta.
The trifecta.
Money, music, hang.
Money, music, hang. And there's always a different ratio. You know, sometimes you might do a gig that maybe doesn't pay super great, but the hang is really good. So
Yep.
The ratio works out somehow. There's some money that, you know, the music's good, you know.
Yeah. There's like a couple lessons that I always give my students when I do teach. When I give my students when they're about to go out into the real world and start gigging, and I start seeing them, you know, around, I'm like, okay, one of the big rules I give them is the trifecta: money, music, hang. And if two of those three things ain't bumping, you run out the door. Because the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to stay there and you're going to feel away, or they may feel away, or you're not going to you have no incentive to bring your A game. Now, those are, you know, the trifecta is different for everybody.
Sure.
If I'm single, have no kids, have no house, and no bills, then money's not the biggest thing. Go for the hang, go for the music. That's cool. But you have to work with what works with you. And not everybody can do the same hang. Like, I can't hang around people who do like tons of drugs and stuff like that. It's just not my thing. But like, I can't do it. But there's other people who be like, cool, I don't got to participate, but I'm cool hanging around here. Mm-hmm. So the hang is always going to be different for different people, you know?
Different for different people. And, there's something that I think about a lot is being a full-time musician. You know, everything's on the line. So your playing takes on a much more weighty responsibility. Whereas, you know, maybe if there's musicians who are kind of part-timers or maybe have a regular job and don't have to worry about money, then when they go out, their life isn't literally depending on it.
Yeah.
You know, and shout out to all the, you know, people that have jobs and other careers. You know, there's all kinds of artists and, you know, all kinds of musicians can be great. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, the cats that really do it for a living and that's how they eat, you're going to play a little different if your life depends on it, don't you think?
I think so. And I think that you kind of have to, this is kind of, I guess, a hot take. Like, I feel like you have to go through that life at some point or another to kind of level up. You have to go full time for a second to at least be like, okay, this is what it means that everything I play and everything I do depends on the gig and how I perform on this gig and the networking and the things I create with these people. I don't think you have to stay there. There's a great quote from a composer. What was it? He's like, it's that one composer. He was also like a tax guy or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
Anyways, his whole job was his name will come to me in a second here. But he had a full-time job as like doing like insurance or something like that, and he was a composer. And one of his quotes is like, "Oh, why should my family starve off of my dissonance?" Kind of like making the point of like, I can hold a job. My family doesn't have to survive off of if I make notes or not. You know, I can have something solid.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of resonated with that for a very long time because I've kind of always had a full-time job. There's been times I've slipped back and forth into playing full-time and touring full-time and stuff like that. But I've had a kid since I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always like, no, I still need something consistently over here. Hey, this gig and this tour is paying for, this section of my life. This is what I'm doing right now. And it's like, things are slowing down. Full-time job. I'm not scared of that. And I think holding both have given me the world of what you're saying of, hey, you got to be in there and you got to understand that you got to eat and somebody else has to eat based off what you play. But also the not being scared that you're going to lose that thing when you have a full-time job. And like you're saying, there's plenty of people in between who do the full-time thing and that's how they feel like they need to do. There's other people who go, I have to be a weekend warrior. There's other people who go, I have my main gig, I have my side gig, and on the side I sell merch. I don't really knock any of those things.
Yeah.
It's just how do you, but I'm with you in the sense of like, you need to cross a point where everything you do is in music. And you play different. You don't go for that lick. You don't hit that pedal. You don't try to, you don't try to go be like, I'm creative. You don't try to be better than the music. You go, no, I have to hit this music and relate to these people and relate to this thing before my creative endeavors take over everything. So you kind of end up learning how to be a part of a band and part of a musical situation a little bit better when your next meal depends on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's actually a very, very good thing. And I think that everybody should cross that road.
Yeah. And, it's like you said, it's the whole gamut of, you have these things in your life and maybe music's not, maybe playing is just one part of it, and so, yeah, we just have to, run with what you have and take the opportunities that you have. And, props to you for having those jobs because, one downfall of it's kind of I don't know what to call it, it's, kind of a hard thing to deal with is if you have just playing music as your source of income, then you might be tempted to take a gig that's not super high level because you need the money. And then next thing you know, you're out there and you're playing with the group and it's okay, but it's not like real high level. And then you think to yourself, here I am playing music that's pretty good. And I'm representing myself like that. That's kind of its own whole can of worms, because we all want to represent ourselves in the highest possible way. And if all you're doing is playing, then you may have to take some things that aren't totally awesome all the time, but it's work too, and then it's like, well, what can I bring to this situation to make it better? How can I support? How can I bring the level up and make the best of it? But whereas if you have a job or some other source of income, you can be a little choosier with how you represent yourself out in the community on your instrument.
Yeah, I think I went through that exact phase. By the way, that composer, Charles Ives.
Charles Ives.
He was tax guy. Something.
Wow,
like
multiple career.
Yeah. And atonal composer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, point being, I kind of went through what you were saying. There was this point where I was in the house band for Buffalo Thunder for like 3 years. It was supposed to be like a 6-month contract, but it ended up becoming 3 years. And it was a very interesting gig. And it was like really one of the first times that music paid all of my bills. One gig every weekend paid all of my bills, and everything else was just my day job was just fun money. And I was like, cool. But I would end up on like Monday morning just being completely exhausted and burnt out, and randomly in the week just being burnt out. And I'm like, why am I burnt out? I'm playing music. I'm having fun. I'm doing the thing. And I realized that it was casino music. It was a band where we dressed up like nerds and played nothing but 80s rock tunes. Yeah, And I realized that there was no creativity in that for me. I mean, plenty of people can find enjoyment in it. After 3 years of that, I was done. And I was just burnt out. And I'm like, why am I burnt out? And then I had to look at it and be like, well, you're playing music for money. Which is okay, but you're not doing the creative thing that fills your passion. So you're essentially working 80 hours a week at McDonald's. You're not sitting at the paint. You're not painting anything. You're not creating this thing, your magnus opus or anything like that. No, you've been working at McDonald's for 80 hours a week. So that's why you're burnt out, because it's easy to conflate work and art because you're using the same instrument to do both. So you need to figure out, me personally, I needed to figure out when am I doing a work thing? And if I am doing a work thing, which is fine, make the money, get the bag, how do I do a creative thing to make it whole? Because if I do too much of this, I feel away. I kind of forget your purpose of like, I did this to create and I'm not creating. And then when you're over here, almost the no structure goes too far, where it's like, obviously you're not paying anybody's cell phone bill if you're just creating and you're not like a big artist, but you're also not feeding your soul. But sometimes when you get too much time to do this, you forget structure and you forget the things that kind of balance you. So it is a yin and yang thing of like, yeah, you need the functional gig that is boring, maybe redundant, it's all rote, but you also need the piece to create. But having all the time to create sometimes makes you lose the function of how to function on a gig. So if I get too far down, example of like, if I get too far down the creative road and I'm using every pedal on the planet and I use my sampler and I use my laptop and I use keyboards and stuff like that, when I finally get to a blues gig, they're going to be like, oh, cool, you're fired. Like, if you bring out one more thing, you're fired. I'm like, all right, cool. But also if I get to a point where I'm doing this and I'm too rigid and then somebody asks me to create on their track and the only thing I can think of is to hit a G.
The meat and potatoes.
And they go, no, I want some more. I'm like, well, I haven't worked out my creative muscles to have that, what more is. So you need the balance of both.
Yeah. It's kind of related to the trifecta in a way, I mean, we're kind of breaking it down further.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I guess like if you have the trifecta over here and it's weak on the music or the creative or the hang side, over here you need to have something to cover for that.
Yeah.
And that could balance it out. Really, it really could. But
you're saying like in your life, like if you have a situation you're just kind of meat and potatoes and you're just kind of like, I got to do this gig because I need the money. Mm-hmm. Are you saying that you also try to find a way to have art in that gig, or are you just saying it's important to have both in your life?
I would say both. I would argue both. I would say that if you have, it's like your workplace. If your workplace becomes so dry and so cut and dry and you just go there to do the work and you have no interpersonal connection with anybody at your work gets harder and harder to go to on Monday. If you find some enjoyment out of that one employee that you gossip with, you hang out with, you have jokes with, that makes, work a little bit easier. So yes, you need to find the enjoyment and the creativity in the function gig, but you also need to maybe have a creative outlet somewhere else. So
Yeah,
both.
both is true.
Yeah.
Both is true. Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. We all have those moments on stage where we're there, we look good, we sound good, but we're just not feeling it.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge. And it's those times where it's like you gotta dig deeper. I've been trying to just find the humanity and stuff.
Yeah.
Like if I'm playing a gig and I'm like, the music's okay, but I'm not feeling particularly inspired, and I'm there. I just try to look around and say, okay, we're all just a bunch of people, and most of these people think it's good. So who am I? I have to have my opinion. I have to have my feeling.
Yeah.
I'm not taking that away from me, but I just try to step back and I'm like, okay, these people are enjoying it. What can you do? It's just you just have to serve the music as best you can. But it's hard when you're not feeling it. I struggle with that sometimes. And
I like how you're saying that you need to kind of add the human back to it, and I don't know. I have too much fun on gigs sometimes when it's like on those like gigs that you've done 100 times and stuff like that. Like I'll have an inside joke. I'll develop inside jokes with all the other members. Like a good example is me and two of my best friends, Dee Brown and Paul Palmer.
shout out to those dudes.
We have fun. And when we play, we have fun, and we're like brothers, and we fight and we argue and we have inside jokes and we have all of these things. So when we play, we won't be looking at each other. Somebody will play something and we will all start laughing on stage because we get the jokes and we've developed those things. Or Paul might try something crazy. Dee might play something. Like, we all have those jokes. And so when we play the same thing over and over again, we kind of live for those moments to be like, oh, hey, is there another living person over there? Another good one is shout out Thomas Primizik.
Shout out Thomas.
Prim. Him and I have a gig with Hicks and Fowler and Nick Fowler and Michael Hicks. What's up? Philly B as well.
Yeah.
And me and Thomas really have a great relationship with that as well, where we kind of look at each other like, yeah, we've played the song 100 times. What you got to do? I dare you. Like, you give that look of, I dare you to do something new. He'll try something and I'm like, cool, I'll go with you. I'll go with that. And we know where the confines are. We definitely look at each other like, hey, that's a little too far. Bring it back. Pocket. But there's also points where it's like, oh, if you go far, I'll go with you. And yeah, then we're in a different era. Then everybody else in the band is kind of looking at us with wonder, but we didn't go so far out of pocket. But we need to have those. We need to test those boundaries sometimes to know that, everybody, you have that interpersonal connection, that everybody has a say, that you're having fun on the gig.
You're having fun. And, that's part of our job too. Not only, being cool to be around and sounding great, but having fun. And, that brings me to another thing that I've been thinking about. I noticed this with Felix Los Gatos. Shout out Felix.
Felix.
And, he'll hire a musician to play, and there's a moment where, like all of us, any of us, we're playing a gig, and you're doing the job, you're playing the bass part, you're holding it down. But then Felix has this other side where he wants to know what you have to say.
Yeah.
So it's like you go from, I'm pretty sure I'm doing the right shit here.
Yeah.
To what do I want to say? What do I feel? And then it becomes like this beeline to playing just what you feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's the ultimate goal for him. And it's interesting. Just that whole process that happens with musicians, where you go from like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm here, it's all good, now I'm going to let myself shine.
Yeah.
And that's another level, you know.
I always kind of ride the line between that of, number one, Felix does do that. And I always think that's like really great for like an artist to ever be like, hey, yo, this is your moment. Like Robert does the same thing where he'll give me like a showcase and he'll be like, oh, Art, you do whatever you want. This is your time. Then bring in the song. Cool. Pedal.
We're going into outer space.
We're going to outer space. It's like, oh, you paid the price of admission. Now ride the ride.
Yeah.
But I kind of always ride the line between that, of like some of the greatest musicians I know. And I was having this conversation with somebody else the other day, is that some of the best musicians that I've played with and I know is like they'll go across every genre you can possibly think of, and they sound like themselves. Like if they're doing straight ahead, they sound like themselves. They're doing funk, they're doing ballads, they're doing reggae. It's like, oh, that person sounds like that person. And it fits. They sound like themselves. They're playing the genre authentically. They're speaking to the dialect authentically, but they sound like themselves and nobody's complaining about it. And that's what I kind of always strive to do, is at the end of the day, be like, oh, how authentic can I sound? I always think of music not as genres, but as dialects. Like, what dialect are they speaking? And so I go, okay, cool. I know I'm speaking the dialect, or I'm somewhat close to it. But at the end of the day, I'm still Artha, and I can't change that. And it's best that I can't change that, because that helps me. That gives me like the location of where I sit in proximity to whatever this dialect is. And so I can play it authentically. So what does that kind of sound like? That's kind of like crazy to say. It's like, if I'm playing a tambao, like, I'm like, cool. I was born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I know ranchera, I know Tex-Mex, I know these genres that I listen to. So I'm very far from that, but I listen to, like, you know, Paquita de Riviera growing up. I was, you know, when it was a social club, those were like my favorite albums when I was like a teen. So I know that it's like, oh no, I know what that dialect kind of sounds like, but me trying to sound like that 100% it's going to end up sounding bad, because somebody from that culture is going to be like, yeah, you're trying to fake that tambao really bad. But when I try to sound like me doing a tambao, when I go like, what does it feel like to me to play that thing? It feels more authentic, where they go, yeah, that's not exactly the thing, but that works. That's cool. Keep doing that thing. When somebody tells me, keep doing that thing on a genre that I'm not completely comfortable in, I know I won. I'm like, cool. I'll sit there and read every book and listen to every album that I possibly can to get close, but I can still only get close with how I play and my interpretation of it. I can't go live in Puerto Rico from birth and have a bass in my hands and be like, I know everything about this thing. It's like, no, I'm not even going to pretend that. I'm going to pretend that I know best from my research, and I hope all my research and reconnaissance gets me there, gets me close to that thing.
Research and reconnaissance, man, you're so heavy, bro. You're such a big dog. And, you know, I think it's a trip that we were born when we were born, because we got the information age, and now music is mixing all crazy all over the world. And, you know, 100 years ago, music was much more regionally specific. Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about, yeah, I grew up in Albuquerque, and, you know, I've heard those styles, like that's, you grew up around it, and so you have that flavor, you know. Yeah. But these days, you know, I mean, I've played so many different kinds of music, and it's the globalization of music is really a trip right now.
It's kind of weird, because like the things that man, sound like an old head, but like the things that are kind of getting lost is kind of the culture of specific regions, because everybody has access to that culture. So, you know, Atlanta rappers, you will have Iggy Azalea, who's from Australia, who sounds like an Atlanta rapper because she was able to get access to all these Atlanta rappers in the underground scene to sound like that in Australia. You'll have like, you know, Norwegian death metal bands out of New Jersey. So yes, the idea of that, but the regional like culture is kind of getting a little bit lost in the sauce, like where people take in so much that it almost ends up like some musicians end up like a little bit homogenized because they're all taken from the same influences, and especially the same pop influences,
Yeah.
which I don't know, can turn into a good thing, can turn into a bad thing. I think that that's a debatable thing that we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have noticed the idea that I haven't really heard, oh, this region does this thing and this is the only region that does this in America in a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, like New York hardcore, SoCal punk, you know, Florida death metal, like all of those things. Like those used to be prominent rock staples of like, they only do this, they only do that, they only do this. And now it's kind of like you see this cross referencing for everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of it's good and it's I don't even know if I want to say bad, but it's you know it's we have so much available to us now. You know, I guess the question is how do we represent our culture and in our music, and you know I feel like by being our true selves.
Yeah.
By being our true selves on stage and
Yeah.
being authentic.
Yeah. And kind of constantly digging for what's the most authentic thing you can do and trying to shed the simple answers sometimes. Yeah, just because everybody said, you know, you play the bass line this way. This is, I don't know about this one. This is dangerous. Just because somebody said play bass line this way, that you play it like that for every gig in every situation, no matter who's playing with you, no matter what changes. An absolutist, like a bassline music absolutist, no matter what happens, I play it this way. Instead of being kind of authentic and human and going, who's around me? Are my friends here? Want to get away with something? Hey, this crowd is not feeling the way this song goes. Want to make it a cumbia? Like stuff like that. Yeah. That's being authentic too, of like, what does the moment speak to? Who are the people around you? What's the capabilities of the other musicians around you? Be like, oh, you know, playing with, once again, another one, Arnaldo Acosta. What up, Arnaldo?
Shout out.
If I go somewhere and I tell Arnaldo, I'm like, hey, yo, like Fela Kuti, like Afrobeat, go. In the middle of a gig, he'll be like, oh, got it. He'll start doing something. If I go, cumbia, okay. You call out any of these things and he's happy to do it because he has all of these things, but he also knows how to fit it for the musicians in the band.
And for the song.
And
right?
for the song.
Yeah.
He knows how to do all that. So to have that at your fingertips and not take advantage of it, I feel like is, considering the situation, if I'm playing with Katy Perry and we have a big, huge production, don't change anything. The song needs to go the way it goes. Mm-hmm. But if we have a situation where we're able to move back and forth, take advantage of it. Be a human. Realize the other humans around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. I love that approach, you know. And yeah, speaking of musical dialects, you know, we share a love for cumbia music. We love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Antonio. Proyecto Cumbión.
Yeah.
That's a fun group to work with.
Yeah, that's kind of, I won't say my first, but it's kind of the most extensive I've been able to sit in with a cumbia band. So it's been really fun because I love doing homework and studying styles and stuff like that. So yeah. I had to put in a lot of work for that. As simple as it sounds, I had to put in a lot of work. And I had to hit up another friend of ours, Gilbert Uribe, shout out. I had to ask him for like cumbia lessons. He's skill. So he's like, oh yeah, you got it. Just do this. And he just does all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, I need to record this, sit with this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely still kind of use videos and tab that I got off of him. Yeah. That I made, tablet transcriptions I made off of his playing. I kind of use it as a Bible of like, okay, I'm about to go play cumbia. What would Gilbert do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what happens is that I wanted to ask you about is, okay, let's say you're playing a gig and everything's going great, and say there's a bunch of people dancing and they're like, bass solo. How do you handle that? Do you feel like a responsibility to play for the dancers, and does that make you feel like you have to approach it a certain way?
Yeah, 100%, especially in dance groups. And it really depends on what the drummer is doing to me. Like what the drummer is doing in general. Are they holding it down or am I holding it down? Like, let's take it in a good example of like, you always get a solo in Boogie Oogie Oogie. You know, boom, dun, 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 dun. In that one, the drummer's just doing four on the floor. I can do whatever I want, and I'm not really disrupting whatever the dancers are feeling because they got, right? In a cumbia band, you're the kick drum. Your job is to kick drum. And if you don't have a drummer, you have several, like in a proyecto, there's several percussionists, but there's no actual kick drum player. You're the kick drum. So then I have to tailor my solo around how do I make it as rhythmic and harmonically cool or whatever as possible, but how do I retain that kick drum pattern that they don't leave the dance floor?
Keep that pulse going.
Yeah, and that goes back to that kind of like artistic integrity of like, I can be as artistic as possible, but if it doesn't resonate with the people in the moment and resonating with the interpersonal connection of everybody, then it's wrong. If nobody gets the joke's on you. So if I start trying to do an atonal solo that's using quintuplets, then it's like, cool, that woman who was just dancing right there, she didn't get the joke. The joke's now on you. She's going to be like, he was terrible. So how do I retain that? So it's like, okay, I got to keep this rhythmically interesting, but also keep it melodically a solo, make it a solo, but somehow still catch them.
Right.
So a big thing I do in my solos that I'm very aware that I do is like I quote things a lot. I have like several quotes. Like I'll do So Fresh and So Clean. I'll do Pure Imagination. I'll do Lowrider. Like I always quote something really, really obvious. Super Mario Brothers, Zelda.
Video game,
anything from pop culture to video games, but whatever, it's like I quote something. And I feel like that's always a good basis to be like, bring somebody back, cue somebody in, or be like, hey, if you didn't get what this solo was about, or if you did anything like that, hey, we just shared a reference. If you got the reference I just played, you go, yeah, see, we get it. So I always feel like that's a way to bring people back in, stay rhythmic, do something melodic, say something, but also have something to connect with the crowd. And then you can bring it back to wherever you want to go.
Yeah, that's part of our job. Because if the music's going and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, Artha on bass, you kind of have to do something, you know? So, yeah, that's part of the adventure of what we do. And, that's just, that's something that you can't really even work on outside of performing. There's certain things about performing that, only come up during a performance. Like, all right, we've been on this for a minute. There's gonna be some kind of change coming up. It's either this path or this path, or maybe this path. And those moments where the band just takes off on a path together, and the audience thinks it was planned out, but really it just happened. You know.
Yeah. Somebody told me, like, when I was really young, they're like, hey, just remember this. Anytime a band gives you a bass solo, it's not going to be on the song you want to solo on. It's going to be on a song that you would never expect, and it's going to be at a part where the bass is crucially needed. Figure out your solo. I'm like, okay. Sure as rain. Like, for like years to come, every time somebody would call a solo, it'd be on this thing of like, this? You want me to solo? Like, there was literally a slap bass line over here. There's literally a bass solo in that song. Not that song, but you want me to solo on, you know, Tennessee Whiskey? I'm like, all right, Tennessee Whiskey it is.
Oh man, there's a band that I play with sometimes, and I'm gonna say shout out. I'm gonna say shout out to Ron Crowder, Mr. Ron Crowder.
Ron Crowder.
Thank you, sir, for all the good musical work you do. One thing that happens when I'm playing with him is we do this one song, and he's like, he breaks it down. And he's like, says to the audience, "Who's ready for some funky bass?" You know, and he does this like setup for the bass solo, and I always feel like, oh gosh, now I have to play something funky. You know what I mean? And it's like I always get in my head right before that happens because it's such a build up. But thank you for this bass solos, Ron. Thank you for, you know, always giving your bass players a chance to shine. And you know, he's a guy that has good taste in musicians. That's
he
for
does.
Sure.
He does. Yeah, sweet human being.
But yeah, do you ever get nerves when you get such a build up on stage? Like, you know, someone builds you up, and then it's like everybody's waiting for you, and it's like, oh, he's gonna shred. Like, do you ever get vibed out in your mind, or you just?
I won't call it vibed out. You remember in Austin Powers where like it's towards the end where this guy's gonna get ran over by this one like slow machine, like a vehicle, and it's going like less than 5 miles per hour, and he's just standing there the whole time screaming that it hits him.
Oh, okay.
It takes like forever for him to roll over. He could have moved out the way. It's one of those where it's just like, oh, it's coming. And then the time comes up, and I'm like, oh, I missed like the first few notes, and I'm like, okay, let it go. Keep moving along. It's like, I've never gotten stage fright. I've never gotten frightened at a solo. It's more, I'll get intimidated by like impressing the musicians on stage, I guess. Like I don't know. Like I've been nervous about, do I have this music down? Do I have this together? Oh, I'm about to take a solo. But I don't know. Like when I'm about to take a solo in my head, I'm like, cool, you told me to be me, so I'm going to be me. Whatever happens, once again, you paid the price of admission. Now ride the ride. No matter what I do, you asked me to solo.
Yeah.
So I don't get nervous in that regard. I get nervous in the sense of like, am I authentically playing this music? Am I passing the test? I'm playing this correctly. That's more what I'm worried about. But I never get vibed out by the crowd. I never get vibed out by like
the situation.
No, it's just more of like was I ready? I get in my head more than anything external.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe just worried, like once again, like, do I got this music right?
Yeah. When I started playing music out in the community, I wasn't psychically ready for it. I'm very empathic.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm always like, I can like feel what other people are maybe feeling, or, you know, maybe to a certain level. Like I pick up on vibes around me. Mm-hmm. And I was homeschooled, so I was a little under socialized. Yeah. And so I remember when I started playing gigs, you know, I'm there in the bar and I'm like, you know, 19 years old or something like that. And I would just be overwhelmed with all the energy around me, and I would lose myself. I would lose my center, and I would go home and I would be like, who am I? What am I doing? Yeah. But that was really exciting and fun, and I want to do it again. And I love playing music. Like I always wanted to play music, but it took me years to be able to play a gig just in a bar or restaurant and just stay grounded and just be like, this is who I am. You know, I'm still working on it, you know, and especially, like, I think every time I'm on stage and someone introduces me to play solo, I get nervous. You know, yeah. I just do. I don't let it shut me down, but that's great that you don't tend to get stage fright, because, you know, different people deal with that on a different level, you know, and it's a process, you know. Music is a a sacred event. You know, it's like
It's interpersonal. It's always
it's
interpersonal, and
spiritual.
in a lot of different ways. In a lot of different ways, it is spiritual, and I don't. I think that it's kind of understated. That kind of every music situation you take something from, no matter how innocuous it seemed. But yeah, I'm kind of with you that I kind of have a knack for picking up the feelings the feelings of people on stage. Like first and foremost, I'm always kind of drummers first to me because I was a drummer. I started bass, went to drums, then I just went back to bass.
Really?
Yeah, I have more professional lessons on drums than I do bass.
No kidding. I didn't know that about you. When was
Yeah.
that?
High school. Like I got the Louis Armstrong Award for jazz drumming. I won several drumming competitions, then just went back to bass.
Wow.
My chops are gone, so don't ever like ask me to be on a gig. But what that did is it opened up me to knowing the physical capabilities of drummers and kind of what different drummers do. So I kind of first and foremost can pick up the feeling and the empathy have empathy with like the drummer where they're at. Be like, okay, cool. And then I play guitar, stuff like that, and I feel where everybody's at. Like, okay, cool. But I guess I kind of was raised. I've kind of always had a very, very strong sense of self. And so, like, peer pressure was, my parents were never scared of peer pressure with me. They're like, oh, Art's not going to do it if he doesn't want to. That's it. Or if he decides to go do this thing, he's going to go do it. So my sense of self has always been big. So it's like, cool, when I'm on stage, I'm not worried about anybody else vibing me. I'm just worrying if I'm doing something proficient enough that I'm actually mixing with everybody. And then it kind of helps me when I need to see where somebody else is at. If somebody ain't feeling it, I'm like, cool, there's something going on with guitar player. Because I'm like, no, I know where I'm at. I know how I feel. I know I'm cool. He's feeling some type of way. How do I curtail this around him? How do I help him out? And so yeah, me being secure in myself helps me helps me with my empathy for everybody else in the band. So it's just never led to, I don't know. Then it's never led to like stage fright. Because stage fright to me is like, this sounds really bad, but I don't care necessarily what the crowd is feeling. Like if it's my job, if we're playing at a dance band, yes, I have to pay attention that if y'all dancing or not. But if it's my band and we're doing our thing, it's like I care so much for everybody on stage and all my musicians who are there. The crowd, man, once again, y'all paid the price of admission. Now ride the ride. We're having a conversation. Y'all can watch our conversation, but if there's one of you in the crowd cheering, yay. None of y'all cheering, don't care. 3,000 of y'all cheering, sweet. But at the end of the day, I care about everybody on stage and how they're doing. So stage fright's never a thing. It's like, how do I connect with y'all? Am I connecting with y'all? Are y'all ready to receive connection? Are we cool? But
You're looking out for your band members.
Dude, turn and face this way and look at my band member. I'm not worried about the crowd. It's not that stage fright. I don't want to look at the crowd. It's just, nah. I got a vibe. The micro connection with myself is solid. If I got the music down. If I got the music down and I did my research and I did my due diligence, the readiness, the micro of myself, cool. The mezzo of the band and making sure the band is connected, that's my next concern. The macro of the crowd, not my concern. Because if we got micro and mezzo together, they'll feel it. They'll be together. They'll be with us. But it has to be strong connection here and strong connection with us. Mm-hmm. That's how you gain the connection with the crowd. Mm-hmm. Not the other way around of we need to get a connection with the crowd for us to play right, for me to feel okay about myself. That's the wrong way of going about it.
Yeah.
You work on yourself, to help the people next to you, that shines bright to everybody else. That's how music is supposed to heal and how music is supposed to work. It's not supposed to be the crowd dictates how we feel. We got to feel a way no matter what happens.
Man, that's inspiring. That's inspiring. That makes me want to have my musicians' backs more, just hearing you talk about that. And yeah, those are good lessons, man. How we can support each other on stage. I noticed you brought some of your instruments. You want to show us a few of your basses? You got some cool stuff going on here.
Not even a few, man. This is all I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't like owning a lot of gear. I get real nervous owning too much stuff.
Me too.
So yeah, let's start with this one. This one's really special. This is a PhD bass. There's a builder in Rio Rancho. Her name is Perizad Hatcher. Perizad Hatcher Design.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah.
Beautiful bass.
Very beautiful family, very cool people. Her son, Sky, absolutely. Her son, Sky Hatcher, is like a crazy musician in every which way. Like, plays bass, plays piano, killer. Shout out, Sky.
Man, this is some next level shit right here.
So, we kind of started our friendship with, she asked me to come by and be like, hey, I'm making basses. I just want you to have like, I just want you to, I just want you to check it out and see what you think. Are you into these basses? You know, what could I do better? Just R&D work, just my opinion. I'm like, okay, cool. So I started off that I'd go over and I'd check out some of the basses, and she's like, okay, do you want to build one? I'm like, no, like, still not my thing. And we kind of went back and forth for a while. And then at a certain point, she's like, she had a design, and I was like, yo, that thing's cool. And so she built this for me. And so,
you know, I've seen these, I've seen this kind of body shape on like fedoras, and I've always been fascinated by that. And was trying to show the back. It's like, freaking incredible. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, I always have a ton of stickers.
That's just really incredible work. And
so she would have a lot of different basses at her house. So she did have Federas, she did have MTDs, she did stuff like that. So she would buy them to kind of like re-engineer them and figure out how does this thing work. She, incredibly smart person. Like Perizad, I can't speak highly of her enough. She's awesome. But she re-engineered everything, and she was just like, yep. And so when she started offering the single cut for him.
Is that what this is called, the single cut?
It's called a single cut.
Single cut.
And so then it just looked cool. And so since I've had it for probably start of the pandemic, like mid-pandemic.
Oh, okay. I like the angle on here.
Yeah, the break right there.
The break is good.
Yeah, she's smart about all of it. And then she just ended up, I just ended up doing like some of my things on top of here. Like I added a second soap bar right there.
Oh, so when you got it, it just had...
It was one soap bar and one J pickup.
Oh, I see.
And so then I added both of them, and then it was a different brand of pickup. It was really supposed to be, this was supposed to be a Music Man position, and this is supposed to be a P-bass position.
Okay.
So definitely like gets those tones.
Yeah.
So that real punchy and that real kind of deep P-bass thing.
Yeah.
Very balanced type thing, type sound. I think it still has a Nordstrand preamp in here. Pretty sure.
Yeah. How you're a fan of active electronics in general?
Yeah. I like functionally. I like active more than I like passive. Oh, I don't know. I think active is way more flexible and gives you everything passive does. Passive is just it has a certain sound, but functionally it's limited, and that's okay for some people, you know? Mm-hmm. It's just when I'm on a gig, it's like, okay, cool. I'm going through like 15 tones in a gig. So it's like, it's easier to be like, I'm going to add bass. I'm going to take away bass. I'm going to take away high end.
Wow. So you really utilize the electronics and the pickups and all the different tones.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like I'm a set it and forget it kind of guy. Like this is what my bass sounds like, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
but this is like a machine. I mean, you know, you could get it to sound like a jazz bass. You could get it to sound like a P bass. And it's incredible. I mean, I don't even know what all those controls are, but
It's simple. Master volume, blend, treble, mid, bass.
okay,
That's just generally how any active electronics are laid out.
okay.
This switch, it used to do something. Now it does absolutely nothing.
So it's like the producer switch on Lee
It is
Sklar's.
the Mojo. Yep, Mojo switch. Yeah, it's a Mojo switch. It does nothing except impress producers.
Yeah,
Doesn't it sound better?
yeah.
Don't you think?
Let me try this other setting.
I feel it like it adds air. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's this one.
So you'll dial in multiple tones on the same gig
Yeah,
for the song?
yeah. I mean, that's kind of like why I went down pedals and samplers and synth bass and stuff like that, is because I like getting the exact tone. I like it. I love it. I'm like, as soon as you get the exact tone, it almost puts you, it's almost like an actor. You put on the clothes of the character and you're like, oh, cool. It's
Wow.
easier to play that character.
Wow.
That's how I view it. So,
Wow. That's really inspiring.
yeah. This one's actually another kind of special bass.
I see you got the flat wounds on there.
Yeah. I had a student who passed away, Kramer Woodard.
Ah, R.I.P.
Yeah, Woodard family. And he took lessons with me, and then it ended up his daughter took lessons to me. And when he passed away, his daughter was like, hey, my dad was getting sick, and he was like, well, the last thing he wanted to do, he wanted to give you a bass. And this is a real 62 P bass.
62P.
Yeah. And so I appreciated it, and it was via one of our mutual friends, Ian Bannerman, who's been like my luthier fix-it guy since I was 16.
Shout out to Ian.
And so what Ian did is he was like, hey, he's like, Kramer wanted to give this to you. He's like, oh, it's a good bass. It's not going to be worth, 62 money. But
Right.
he's like, oh, it's a good functional bass. So we kind of ended up doing, different things. It's been my number one studio bass.
Number one studio bass. Eh?
Yeah. So, I mean, I still have all the gear, but I had to change out the pickup. So this is an EMG Geezer Butler pickup. So it's like a 62 pickup.
Wow. Are they active?
It's passive.
Passive.
It's a passive EMG.
Passive EMG. Wow.
Ian gave me a replacement neck because the truss rod went in the original neck. I still have the original neck. So you got a Bannerman.
Bannerman.
It's not a Fender, it's a Bannerman bass.
Yeah.
So but I keep the flat ones on this one, and it doesn't. And if you notice in all my basses, I have like a picture of my daughter at the ocean.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, all of them have it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's wonderful.
And then this is the newest one.
The Warwick.
Yeah, so
That's a sweet axe.
this one is the newest one because I was doing a lot of fly dates with the PhD, and I was starting to feel like, hey, if this thing disappears on a flight, I'm going to feel away. I'm going to be pretty mad. So maybe I get a backup. / I probably need a backup for a 5-string because I use 5-string more. And I saw this one on Reverb, and the guy who was selling it is from Albuquerque. And I was like, oh, cool. I messaged him like, hey, you want to take off the shipping costs if I come pick it up? He's like, sure. And ends up being the bass player for Hula Ghost, Brandon, who's a super cool guy. And he lived around the block from me. So I just went by his house and picked this up. And this has kind of ended up being my main bass now. This is the one I take to all the gigs now.
Wow.
Yeah. I used to play Warwick back in the day when I was a kid. And so,
Warwick's a great company.
yeah.
I have one of their bass amps. I have the LWA 1000, and I'm really happy with it. Wow.
It's a weighty thing, but it feels great and sounds great.
Yeah.
It's like a super modern jazz bass.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Nice bass.
Yeah. So those are all of my instruments, really.
Yeah, you mentioned flying on with the bass. It's things are getting a little trickier, right? What's your approach to that? You use the gig bag, you check it. What's your go-to,
So Um, I've done fly dates pretty much since I was like 20. So I've gotten used to it, but I've always used a gig bag. I've never actually checked my bass, like flight check, pre-check.
Mm-hmm.
Never done that. I'm always taking it this way.
Mm-hmm.
But with current gigs I had, this last year, we were flying so much that I would have to take this from gate to gate to gate to gate. And it was like, it's a lot to carry my backpack, my bass, and all that. So I'm going to probably start checking it. But I could tell you this much. Since, let's say, the last 15 years of checking it, of taking a gig bag, just a mono gig bag, a Vertigo, taking it on, let's say, 200 flights over the last 15 years. I've only had to check it like 3-4 times, maybe 5 at best. And I don't know, they're pretty good about it. I think the airlines get in a lot of trouble, so they just don't mess with it no more. They'll be like, cool, we'll take your instrument. Either A, they'll put it in a closet next to the cockpit, or they'll put it on top of everything, and that'll be the first thing off.
Yeah.
So they've been really good about it, or I've been extremely fortunate, but I just gig bag.
Yeah, I've always just done a gig bag too, but I'm trying to decide next time I do a fly gig if I'm gonna just check it or, because times are getting a little trickier on those planes. But
they always say there isn't room in the overheads, or that it won't fit. It fits every time. There is always room in the overheads.
yeah,
The trick, I won't say trick. The thing I always say is like, hey, can I try? If I try and I can't get it, then cool. We can move it along. Then you can check it and do whatever you want. And then every time I try, I get it fits. And I'm like, cool. I just sit down.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Don't be rude.
Yeah, right.
You're rude. They'll challenge that with their petty, and their petty can break your bass.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Want to take a look at your pedal setup a little bit.
Sure.
And go through that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are. We're going to take a look at some of Artha's setup. What do we have here?
So this is the SP404 sampler. It's a sampler. So I end up using it kind of like unconventionally.
Okay.
Like for the Robert Maribel gig, there's a lot of different sounds we have that are on the record. So I end up using this to kind of trigger those sounds, a lot of atmospherical things. Another thing I end up doing is I'll run his microphone for his flute solos through here.
Oh.
And there's all these effects. So you have delay, filter. This is like a crystallizer, cloud delay. Just different effects. And so while he's soloing, I can like manipulate it, do kind of crazy things.
Wow, that's cool.
And then like I said, just different effects. Let me see. What do I have here? Oh, this is a good one. So for a gig that I did this past weekend, wedding band, we do Pony. So stuff like that.
Dig that shit.
Or the beginning to Dua Lipa, Levitating.
Wow. Taking it to the next level with your sampler, dog.
Yeah. So
Wow.
So it also has a looper in here. So I'll run bass loops and I'll create loops in here just to create songs.
Wow.
And transitions.
Wow, cool.
So this is kind of comes at the end of the chain sometimes. Sometimes I run it independently.
Yeah.
But
wow.
In my
Super
solo
interesting.
band, in my solo band setup or solo band, in my own band, I'll run this like this or run it for the horn.
Yeah.
But as bass goes, it kind of starts over here.
Okay, starts over here.
And so bass, this is just a compressor I got from my friend because I go back and forth with compressors.
Ah.
And so that one kind of just stays on most of the time.
Okay.
Octave pedal. And these are the other 2 octave pedals I end up using. I just keep this board kind of small because this is the fly rig board.
This is the fly rig that you got.
Yeah. I would like to go bigger, but I also we're talking about
Carrying stuff.
carrying stuff and flights being weird.
Yeah.
Distortion. That's just a good gain to distortion. So any rock tunes, Dark Glass, Alpha Omega,
Yeah.
John Stockman from Carnival. That's his signature pedal. It's a great pedal.
Okay.
This is a Eventide H90. It's kind of an all-purpose multi-effects pedal, but it's just very clean sounds, very great sounds.
Yeah.
So any weird synth sounds, what do I have in here? I have like a whammy. I have a looper.
Yeah.
I have synths. I have this one setting that if you ever hear me do a solo live, I'll probably turn it on. And pretty much it makes it sound like a synth. It makes it sound like a flute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Far out.
and then I even have the settings where I can run what's called Robert Maribel's flute through this as well.
Dang.
And so I can turn them on and off. So like this one I have for flute for Medicine Man. There's this kind of another crystallizer type sound.
Wow.
And then this one is just a simple preamp and DI.
Okay.
So good mute switch. Sometimes I turn on the preamp. If I'm running into an amp, I'll turn it off. I usually run direct, so it kind of acts as my amp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Great.
it.
Great. Thanks for showing us.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And this one right here.
Oh, yeah.
That one is kind of how I end up running mics. So for the flutes, saxophones, that's how I run effects into them.
Oh, okay.
But also I use it as a in-ear monitor if I'm not using that. So on a fly rig, I can plug up my headphones and all of that work.
Cool.
Be
Awesome.
self-contained.
That's a cool setup.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'll do that bridge. Cool, man.
Thanks, man.
What's the first one again?
E major 7.
Oh, okay.